management.
Good morning and welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. Now for today's show, here's attorney Ethel Mitchell.
Welcome. I am your host, attorney Ethel Mitchell, and I welcome all who are listening live throughout the world on Radio 1, 1450 AM, WOLDC.com, and LawTalkWithEthelMitchell.com. Also, those who are listening over the TuneIn app. This program is brought to you by my law office, Wills and Trust LLC, where I prepare wills, trusts, power of attorneys, and advanced medical directives. If you or someone you know needs a will, a trust, or assistance administering an estate, call me at 202-772-1988. That's 202-772-1988. And I also wanted to say that I do a lot of presentations at churches. So if you would like a presentation to a committee in your church or at your church, also call me for that because I'm very pleased to do that. For those who may have missed our big announcement, Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell is growing. It's expanding into an hour-long program. Next week, we start from 9 to 10 o'clock, same station, same websites. This gives us more time to bring you more information and to respond to your questions and comments. So remember, set your clocks to hear us earlier from 9 to 10 o'clock a.m. next Saturday. As you've heard me say before many times, law is really powerful. It can help you or it can hurt you. It impacts everything you do. What you don't know about the law can hurt you. What you do know about the law can empower you. So each week, my program, Law Talk, aims to empower you by bringing you professionals who know the law and or related subjects to enlighten and inform you. In recognition of National Homeownership Month, Law Talk has brought you information about home ownership. Attorney Yolanda McGill with the National Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law enlightened us about foreclosure scams. For the last 2 weeks, I, attorney Ethel Mitchell, have told you of various ways to own title to a home to accomplish your various objectives. Today, we're going to discuss one of the most important aspects of purchasing a home, your credit rating. We have an excellent program for you today with Ms. Florence King, a true expert on credit repair, credit restoration, and managing credit. She knows her field. Remember, also, all of our programs are archived on lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com. So if you missed a program, go there, click on the archive button at the top, and find the programs that you want. I must also remind you that what you hear on the program is for information purposes only. No attorney-client relationship is established by anything said on this show. Each person's circumstances are different, and you must seek individual counsel for any situation for which you need legal advice. Let's get started. Home ownership is a key component of building wealth. As we continue our discussion about home ownership, especially in communities of color, it is essential to understand the process of buying a home and how to be financially positioned and prepared. Many years ago, about 10 years ago, when I worked with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, we started a nationwide home ownership program. We got thousands and thousands of calls from people who wanted to buy homes. We got so many calls, the phone system crashed. We had to set up a whole new phone system for them. But by and large, the number one obstacle to getting a home was credit scores. Our people don't really quite understand about credit scores. Ms. King is with us today to explain. She is a graduate of George Mason University. Ms. King has extensive experience in accounting, finance, entrepreneurship, and credit services. After a career in the government, she served as vice president of the accounting firm of Gregory K. Washington CPA. She's very active in her community. For 14 years, she served as commissioner with the Historical Resource Commission for the City of Alexandria. She's now serving her second term on the Commission on Employment, a position she was appointed to by the City Council and the Mayor of Alexandria. She's also the recording secretary of the board for Laurel Grove School Association, a restored schoolhouse that tells the story of free men and free women after the Civil War. Ms. King was featured in the documentary First Generation, Born to Freedom. Ms. King developed her expertise in credit services while working for Equifax, one of the biggest leaders in credit reporting. She has appeared on various broadcast shows and has participated in many panels related to financial literacy. Her business is called Financial Education Services. She does financial education programs with the Northern Virginia Urban League and Bank on DC, and is available to do these types of programs for other organizations. A book everyone should get from her website, fmkinc.com. It's an ebook that tells you how credit scores are calculated and an in-depth explanation of the practices and methods used by credit agencies. Thank you very much, Florence, for being with us.
Thank you, Ethel.
Tell me, first of all, this is something a lot of people don't know. Doesn't mostly everybody have a credit score of some type, whether they actually use credit or not? I mean, how does that work?
Everybody has a credit file, but
Okay.
everybody do not have a credit score. Now, if you're over the age of 18, you should have a credit file, but sometimes it does not generate a score if you have a thin file or your first time, let's say, purchasing any type of credit, or you could have been foreign born and just come to the United States and you may not have a credit score. But everyone has a credit file.
Okay, so how do you get a credit score? Because that's what you need. Is that not correct?
Right. In order to generate a credit score, you have to have at least 300 points, which is foundation points.
Okay.
So first of all, you have to generate that first 300 points, and then they build from there.
How do you generate that?
Okay. So one of the ways to do it is they have different factors that come in place, meaning how long you've been living at your current address. And a lot of people who might go from one location to another will not bill on that foundation score. So if you lived at your current address for at least 3 years, that generates 100 points. But then if you move away from that, it will pull it right back down again. So you have to keep in mind a good way to do that is to maybe have a permanent address if you have a tendency to move around, maybe like college students or military who do a lot of relocations. So it's best to have a permanent address.
Okay. And then what else? How do you establish credit?
Another way to establish credit is to at least have 4 items that you can say that you paid on time. And a lot of people say, well, if I don't have any credit, how am I going to get those first 4?
Okay.
And
Tell us how you do that.
the way to get those first 4 is to apply for a secured card. A credit card. A lot of financial institutions have their own, but however, that climate is changing because less than 10 years ago we had over a hype of financial institutions. Now it's about down to about 3 or 4 who offer good, I would say, secured credit cards.
Okay, so one of the things I try to tell my clients, and I'd like to tell my audience, is get to know your banker. Wherever you put your money at, say hello, get to know them. It's good to know a banker before you need them.
I have to agree with
Yes,
you,
it is
Ethel.
good
I
for
really
them to
do.
know who you are.
And
you don't need to have $1 million in the bank.
And you can come into the bank, and even if you just have a small savings account, just come in and just place small amounts like drips in every other day or something like that. But a way to establish too with your banker is you might some banks have what they would call like a CD, and you can actually maybe take a loan against it, and then they will put that on your credit rating as a installment debt, but it's secured by your money in that CD, and they will actually post that for you as long as it takes you to pay it back, and it will be in a R1 status rating or I1 status rating because you, 1, paying it on time, 2, the money is secured by the CD, and it reestablishes credit.
Okay. And what about if you're able to get credit with a department store, say Macy's or Sears or something like that? How do you manage that?
Now, a lot of people, it's really funny, a lot of people frown on, well, I don't need a Macy's department store because I can use my Visa to actually purchase anything from Macy's, or I can use my Visa to purchase anything from Target. But I tell you, sometimes it's good to have a department store separate from your Visa or your MasterCard. And one, it will add more points to your scores. And two, I would say just spend very frugally, and pay it off every 30 days. And it's really generating points for you. So the more credit cards you have, the more points you have. Just use it. We're not trying to enforce you on, like, okay, I want you to have more credit and get me in trouble. No, if you use it very responsibly, it will make a big difference because you're going to save in the long run because your scores are going to be higher. So you want to try to get that first 4 accounts, and that's a way to do it.
A lot of people also think that, well, if am I late on a payment, it doesn't matter if I catch up. What's your response to that?
That's the last thing you want to do. Here's a good example. Let's say that you have a department store credit card with Sears or Macy's, and your payment is due on the 15th of the month. And you got it in on the 16th. You just missed it by one day, and you're thinking, well, I got it in that month, so it shouldn't make that much difference. It does impact your score heavily because that is they say 35% of your paying patterns impacts your score. So your score will actually go down 70 points, 70 to 100 points by missing that payment by one day.
Wow.
So it is very detrimental on your credit profile by you just inadvertently forgetting to pay a bill. And you have to watch out for bill pay too, because sometimes you have to check and make sure that particular electronic debit actually came out of your account, because sometimes it could be rerouted, it could be some type of malfunction. So you want to even check that if you have the bill pay paying it for you. Yes.
Because they count when they get the money.
That is true.
Right.
That is true.
So it's better if you are, even if you can only pay the minimum,
right?
Pay that minimum a couple of days ahead of time.
Oh yes,
that's even better.
And I would even suggest maybe a week before it's due, because then you'll have a way to rectify the problem if it was misrouted from someone's account because it was a number that was transposed or something like that. Then that particular bank or Visa card operation can get it in before the effective date, because even though they might say that, okay, it was a bank error, it can take a long time to unravel that mistake, and you are suffering because your score went down 70 points for something that you didn't do.
So you're saying that you can get a secured credit card,
right,
by using a loan on maybe a CD. It could be $500, $300. It doesn't have to be a lot of money.
Well, a lot of times at the bank, to get a secured card from the bank, you really don't have to do a CD. We were telling, I was suggesting the CD for a secured loan. Because a loan looks good, because it would be an installation, meaning an installment, which is an I-1 as opposed to an R-1. But when you get a credit card secured from the bank, it will be an R-1, which is revolving, which is okay too if you want to reestablish, but an installment weighs more than a revolving account.
Okay. We're talking with Florence King. You can reach her at 703-684-4440. You can email her at fmkinc@fmkinc.com. fmkinc.com is her website. Please go there, get her ebook, sign up for her courses when she's giving educational courses, because she does, and hire her services because she knows how to fix people's credit. She really does. Tell me something, Florence, is there a way to help people to who already have bad credit, and they have records of bad debts that are on their credit reports. What can you do for them that they can't do for themselves?
Well, a lot of people feel that, they do have laws out here, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, laws that will really help you to implement some of the things yourself. But I always look at it as it's good to go to a professional, because we've been doing this for over 21 years. And as a professional, we know all of the maybe roadblocks that could take place. I've often said to myself that I am not a tax preparer, and I have my own company. I'm willing to go to a person who actually prepares taxes on my behalf, because they know all the things that will help me to get in a better place. So just like, I've had clients who have gone to try to do it themselves, and then they didn't have the results. What we do is, because I've worked with the industry, and I can tell you some of the guidelines that we use in order to get the job done, because I see a lot of people who feel that they can actually repair their credit by paying off old debt. And sometimes that pulls the score down further, and you're thinking you're doing the right thing.
You're thinking you're doing the right thing. Sometimes you have old debt, and you think, well, okay, I'll pay it off. A collection company gets in touch with you. You figure, okay, if I pay them, that'll help me. But from what I'm hearing from you, that might really hurt you.
Right, it will. Basically, it can pull your score down by 60 to 80 points if you pay off an old debt that's more than 24 months old. Now, if you pay it within that 24-month period, let's say you just had a debt that went to a third-party collection agency and it pulled your score down, and you paid it off within 24 months, meaning this year or last year, it will increase your score, but it will add another 7 years, but it wouldn't be that long to go for 7 years. But let's just say it was already 7 years, close to 7 years, and you pay it off, and it's going to add another 7 years, which is almost 14 years. But if you do it that way, you can have it removed professionally, and your score goes up, and you're not obligated to pay that debt.
So if people have bad debt, well, by that I mean debt that's old.
Yes, which is
passed on to a third-party collection agency. If you're being hounded by third-party collection agencies, it is worth it to contact Florence to let her see if there's something that she can do.
We can analyze it. We can report them to the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. We can lodge a complaint against that particular collection agency. Basically, they're regulated, and they know that they're just trying to fool someone into paying a time-barred, outdated debt, which you're not required to do when it's more than 24 months old. It's a third-party debt, which you're not obligated to pay.
Well, that
be that long to go for 7 years. But let's just say it was already 7 years, close to 7 years, and you pay it off, and it's going to add another 7 years, which is almost 14 years. But if you do it that way, you can have it removed professionally, and your score goes up, and you're not obligated to pay that debt.
So if people have bad debt, well, by that I mean debt that's old.
Yes, which is
passed on to a third-party collection agency. If you're being hounded by third-party collection agencies, it is worth it to contact Florence to let her see if there's something that she can do.
We can analyze it. We can report them to the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. We can lodge a complaint against that particular collection agency. Basically, they're regulated, and they know that they're just trying to fool someone into paying a time-barred, outdated debt, which you're not required to do when it's more than 24 months old. It's a third-party debt, which you're not obligated to pay.
Well, that's something new. I didn't even know that.
Yes.
I didn't even know the law allowed that.
Yes.
That is great to know.
And it is the law. It's the Fair Debt Collection Act, and that's a federal law.
Okay, very good. You see there, ladies and gentlemen, the law really can hurt you, and it can help you tremendously.
Yeah, basically just like a bankruptcy, when people will file for reorganization under Chapter 13, a lot of people don't know about the Fair Debt Collection Act. And just like a bankruptcy is legal, that is too. It's just a different route to for people who are inundated with debt.
That's important for people to know. Again, you can reach Florence at 703-684-2005. That's a different number.
Yes, please. Yes, the other number is the old number. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. 703-684-2005. And you can call here at 1-800-450-7876, 1-800-450-7876. Florence, how are credit scores used? Not, as I understand it, is not just a function of whether you can get a loan to buy a home. What other uses do companies use credit scores for nowadays?
Believe it or not, even when you try to get a job, a lot of times, a lot of people might say, well, we got to pull your credit profile, but if you're, they will pull your credit file, but they're saying that it may not stop you from getting the job, but if you are competing with someone else for that same position and one person has a score of 720 and the other person has a score of 583, they will hire the person who has the higher score. The same with insurance, like whether it's on your vehicle or insurance, when they insure your home, yes. The higher your score, the less your premium would be on your insurance, on your Geico or whatever. So it's amazing. Well, it will make a big difference. And so a lot of people say, well, I don't care about the score because I pay cash for everything. But in the long run, you will end up paying a higher interest rate because they're looking at, if you're paying cash for everything, you will have a lower score than someone who shows some history of credit.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope my listeners are paying attention to this because it's almost counterintuitive.
Right.
You know, you would think, at least the old way, you were always told it's better to pay cash.
Yeah, because what is happening now, maybe 25 years ago, cash was king, and everybody can tell you that. But the United States is rapidly turning into a cashless society, meaning that the average person carries no more than $20 in cash because everything else is done electronically.
Right,
and so the United States statistics right now is 73% of all transactions is electronic or credit, and so that just leaves like 7% that is cash basis. And in Europe is at 97% already.
Wow.
So we're no longer a cash is king. We are a cashless society, meaning
That's
everything is done by credit.
Wow, wow. So, and when you say credit, though, let's make this clear. You're not talking about your Visa that takes the money directly out of your checking account.
Yeah, because they don't report that.
Right.
We're talking something that is reportable, something that they can see your paying patterns, something that will actually affect you if you were in the market of purchasing a home because it's your series and you have a medium score. You have to keep in mind the national average score is 689. And let's just say that you wanted to purchase a house and you have your fiance or your spouse. They're going to look at the person who has the lowest medium score. So you could be married to a person who has a score of 820 or three scores, 820, 590, and 680. So they go to throw out the low score and they go throw out the high score. They go to look at the medium score. But if the spouse have the lowest medium score, they will actually use the person who has the lowest medium score to calculate the interest rate and the finance charge because they're the highest risk.
Okay. Okay. So I hope my listeners are really paying attention because that's all important to know. I see on some romance shows that people, you want to know what the credit score is, you know?
You are so right, Ethel.
Yeah, that is so true. We're talking with Miss Florence King. Please call her if you want to know more about this. Her number is 703-684-2005. Go to her website, FMKINC. at fmkinc.com.
That's my
email.
That's my email.
That's the email, right. And from her website, you can purchase her ebook about how credit is calculated. It's only $9.95. And,
that is true.
It is a great investment for anybody who is trying to do business.
That's true.
Because when you do business, they use your credit score.
Right, for business loan, for anything now, especially, and a lot of people, they're amazed when they feel that, even applying for a job or security clearance is very important.
Yes, it's big around here.
Yes, and we have Homeland Security, which is really big here in this area, and I have a lot of clients who I work with so they can get qualified so they don't get kicked out of their job.
Wow. So you can help people to get their credit scores up.
Right. So they can
either
qualify.
get the security clearance or they can
that
keep
is
the
true.
security clearance.
That's right. And
That's
my company, on my letterhead, I submitted saying that I'm working with them, and so they recognize my company. So a lot of my clientele is from Homeland Security.
That's important. Those of you out there who are looking to do that kind of work, please get in touch with Ms. King. I think that's great to know.
Thank you.
Those of you who want to buy cars, buy anything for that matter.
That is so true.
And if you've had difficulty with credit before, or even if you just want to learn how to establish good credit,
that is true.
Get in touch with Ms. Florence King. She can help you. She can guide you. If you need help with cleaning up your credit,
yes.
that is really
we can
your
restore
expertise.
and correct. And all of this is. We do it based on federal law. It's no magic bullet out here. We do a personalized credit analysis of everybody's profile, and it's just some items that is not going to be removed unless you negotiate with, the companies based on how it's being reported. But
and you do that.
Oh,
you
yes,
do that
that is
for
something.
the person.
Definitely. We have classes as well, but we have classes coming up June the 30th, and just call the office.
That's Monday.
Which is Monday from 6:30 to 8:30, and you get a certificate, and we will ask you to attend that class. It's dealing with financial literacy and credit management. It doesn't show you exactly how to maybe increase your scores, but it tells you some of the things that you do that pull the scores down, the national average, how the foundation scores are calculated, and a lot of things that will really empower you. And so the class is a real good step in the right direction if you want to do something on your own about your credit profile.
Thank you so much, Florence. This has been a great program. I hope people have learned so much from it. And,
yes.
I hope that we'll be able to get you to come back at some point because I think that more people need to know this kind of information because this is what helps or hurts you.
That is so true. You can't really get nothing without credit. Even feeding the meters now, you have to have a credit card.
True. And it's important that especially young people know that the Visa card that takes money right out of your checking account
is not reported on your credit report.
It does not help your credit score.
No, it does not.
That's really important for people to know.
And you have to realize is some banks, if you go to a particular financial institution and you have a check drawn on that bank and you want to cash it, they will not allow you to cash it with a debit card. You have to show a credit card.
Yes. There's several places where you.
Yes.
You have to have a credit card.
When you rent cars, renting a car or anything like that. You need to
have a credit card.
Yeah. Debit card is.
And just very quickly, because we're almost out of time, there's certain kinds of credit that are bad.
That is so true. Now, believe it or not, you have some credit card companies or institutions like Household Finance or that has finance at the end of it. It is considered, even if you pay it on time, it's a red flag. It will pull your score down by 20 points because that's the type of credit. So you'll be surprised that you wouldn't think type of credit, if you pay it on time, can be detrimental. So look out for finance companies appearing on your credit report.
That's important. This has been Attorney Ethel Mitchell.